works of the law. He's not talking about good works. He's saying you don't have to keep the Jewish law to be saved. This is a common tactic from Roman Catholics and Eastern Orthodox. Instead of accepting the fact that we are justified by faith apart from works of the law, they insist that this is only talking about the ceremonial laws and signs given under the Old Covenant. But the fact is, if you just read a couple verses later, do we then abolish the law through faith? May it never be. On the contrary, we establish the law. Do you still establish the Mosaic ceremonial law?
Cherry picking. That's what we call the tactic you're using. And you're showing it right there on your screen. You're not even trying to hide it. You can't get the answer you want simply by reading what Paul has written. So you're picking a verse here, you're picking part of a verse there, you're rearranging the order, and you're putting them down and going, hey, if you read it like this, then this exegesis that I'm making up off the top of my head is correct. And I'm sorry, brother, but that's not how it works. In Romans chapter 3, Paul uses the word law 11 times, beginning in verse 19, all the way through the final verse 31. That's 11 times in 13 verses. Obviously, this word means something, and let's not cherry pick around. Let's read it in full together. Romans chapter 3, verses 19 through 31 with commentary. 19, now we know that whatever the law says, it speaks to those who are under the law, so that every mouth may be silenced and the whole world may be held accountable to God. Law is mentioned here twice. Does it refer to works? No, it speaks to those under the law, not under works. 20, for no human will be justified before him by deeds prescribed by the law, for through the law comes the knowledge of sin. I repeat, for no human will be justified before him by deeds prescribed by the law. Does works prescribe things? No, he's talking about the Jewish law that prescribed things like circumcision and animal sacrifice that the Jews used to save themselves. 21, but now, apart from the law, the righteousness of God has been disclosed and is attested by the law and the prophets. Again, law is mentioned twice. Works and prophets? No. Mosaic law and the prophets, the core of Jewish life. 22, the righteousness of God through the faith of Jesus Christ for all who believe, for there is no distinction. 23, since all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. 24, they are now justified by his grace as a gift through the redemption that is Jesus Christ. 25, whom God put forward as a sacrifice of atonement by his blood effective through faith. He did this to demonstrate his righteousness because in his divine forbearance, he had passed over the sins previously committed. 26, it was to demonstrate at the present time his own righteousness so that he is righteous and he justifies the one who has the faith of Jesus. 27, then what becomes of boasting? It is excluded. Through what kind of law? That of works? No, rather through the law of faith. Here he's asking two questions. He's saying one of the law and one of works, clearly showing that they are two different things in this discussion. When he just says law or he says works of the law, he's meaning one thing. Again, animal sacrifice, circumcision. When he's talking just the word works, when all he uses that, which he says in a completely different sentence here, he's talking about something completely different. And then he says that the new law, the law of faith, must replace the old law, the Mosaic law. 28, for we hold that a person is justified by faith apart from works prescribed by the law. So here we see him specifically talking about works prescribed by the Mosaic law, meaning sacrifice of animals, circumcision, to save Jews as explained in previous verses. Faith will save them, not the works of old. 29, or is God the God of Jews only? Is he not the God of Gentiles also? Yes, Gentiles also. 30, since God is one, and he will justify the circumcised on the ground of faith and the uncircumcised through the same faith, because the Gentiles don't have to follow the law. 31, do we then overthrow the law through this faith? By no means. On the contrary, we uphold the law. Now, in your video, you asked me, do we still uphold the Mosaic law? That was one thing you pointed out, to which I respond, even Jesus said to uphold the law, that he would not remove an iota from it. However, Jesus told us, and Paul is trying to reiterate here, that the Jews misunderstood the law. The Sabbath is the law. However, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. Mark 2:27. So yes, we as Christians still need to uphold the spirit of the law that it was intended for, that the Jews misunderstood and continued to do wrong. I just broke down every verse and explained my comment and why your video is incorrect, brother. I encourage you to strengthen your faith, but also strengthen your knowledge of the scriptures. God bless, brother.